Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents absolutely everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and during this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything real estate. What's working, what's not working, AI, automation, technology, EXP Realty, and absolutely everything to do with real estate. I'll have guest speakers as well, where we'll answer your questions from the Facebook group, Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that now, and we'd be happy to help answering any question. And again, welcome to the show. Okay, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk About Real Estate. Today I have with me again Ryan McCann, and Ryan is from First National in Cleveland. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Always great to see you.
You too. It's been a while. Do you know that? Do you remember the last time that we jumped on an interview? Do you remember what we did?
I did. Yeah, I did. I think it was just after one of your books as well.
Yes, we did. And what did we do?
Well, we did the podcast. There was a rapid fire. There was a Grey Goose was involved. I think it was during COVID, wasn't it?
I think so. I think we had a little Grey Goose together.
It was well, you might have had a little one, but
yes.
I think I had a double shot, but I think it was during COVID, and there wasn't much else to do at that point in time, was there? I think we were grounded. We weren't allowed to do open homes.
There wasn't. But I tell you, every time, let's talk about branding. Every time I see this, right, I think of you. And you know what? That is exactly the same bottle too. And that's my friends who drank that. I had a party. I still do. I follow that bottle. I know you do.
My favorite, my absolute favorite. Yeah,
I know that. Hangover. But see, this is the power of social media, and we'll talk about that later. So, Ryan, you've had an amazing career in real estate. So what are some of the accolades that you've had over the last few years, both with REB, First National, etc.?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Obviously, it's been 27 years, so it's spanned over a long period of time. I started real estate when I was 20, and it certainly didn't come along immediately. There's a lot of learning and personal failings along that journey, but obviously being the number one agent at two brands is great. LJ Hookers there in the 2008, 9, 10, I think it was, and First National, 8 out of 10 years I've been there as the number one agent in Queensland. One of my staff now, Bianca Stubbs, is the number one agent for our brand nationally, which is really, really proud as a boss to have. And the office, which I'm really, really excited about, has been not just Queensland's number one office for First National out of 300 thereabout offices. It's the number one office in the country, which when we started 10 years ago with 3 staff, you couldn't dream of that, Lisa. To have 28 staff now and nearly 1,000 managements and to go back to back for the number one office in the brand nationally is one of my big favourite accolades.
That is amazing. Now, the reason we ended up jumping on this call is because you told me some of your achievements over the last 14 weeks. And I said, you know what, we need to jump on another podcast because we haven't done this for a long time. Can you share, you don't have to share all of it, but I was blown away by what you've achieved in the last 14 weeks. So can you share a little bit of that or whatever you'd like to share of that?
Yeah, my role as a principal, I suppose we made a conscious decision last year for me to pull back in sales, not as much being on the floor, more managing. Obviously, when you've got a team that big, I suppose this came along this year a little bit out of the blue. The market, obviously, with a few interest rates dropping, has certainly sparked, and most of my market is done in the prestige field these days. Yes. So look, we're really lucky with the area I'm in. Is entry level is about $2 million, and it can go up to $10 million for a home on a beachfront out here. So that prestige market in 2025 certainly soared. So even though I'm not at the office as much on the sales floor like last year, especially, that prestige market really kicked on. So in the last 100 days, 41 million or 40.5 million, I think it is, in sales, which in GCI is about 1.1 thereabouts. But the coolest thing about that, Lisa, and I know that you're a big fan of customer service and looking after your clientele in the past, is I broke it down just to show my assistant Harrison Turner how important that is on having repeat business. So even though that we weren't going out there, farming areas and things like that, that prestige market took off. Out of the 40 million, oh, sorry, $32 million for the quarter, it was 32 or 34 million for the quarter. 14 sales that consisted of the 14 sales, 12 of them were repeat business. One sale was a client referral, and one sale only out of that 35 million for the quarter, not the last 100 days, just that 90 days. One sale was a new business, which was 2.55. So out of 34.5 million, 2.55 came from new business.
Wow.
So just because you're not out there farming and doing it, if you're looking after your clients and you're staying in contact with people, which to me is still farming, you're still prospecting, keeping in touch with people, doing updates, letting them know what other things in the area have sold for. That may plant a seed and think that maybe I should look at selling, maybe I could upgrade, maybe it's time to downsize, things like that. So when you're talking agents are looking at making money and obviously big sales, to have that many sales come from the repeat business without having to go out there and find new business is really important and something that I'm really proud of.
That's a real testament to you. I mean, that's a testament to you in that they've used you used your services before, been referred to you, but also too they would see the results that you get on social media. So you're constantly marketing yourself, you're constantly nurturing, you're constantly prospecting through your social media, and we'll talk about some more later on too. Okay, so personal achievements in the last little while. What's the biggest personal achievement that you've had?
Definitely, it's the biggest and the smallest physically. Her name would be Billy, Billy
Aww.
Margaret McCann. I'm a dad for the first time. Jess and I had a gorgeous little girl 2.5 weeks ago, and when I say the biggest and the smallest, she's certainly got a pair of lungs on her. She's kept us up a little bit, but I wouldn't change it one bit, Lisa. Just tickled pink. She's absolutely gorgeous, and wouldn't change it any other way. But certainly, me at 47, I didn't think that maybe the chance was there to be a dad. But me at 47 was better than Ryan at 27. I can assure you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it keeps you young. Like I had my son at 40.
Yep.
So yeah, it keeps you young. It really does. I loved it. Hey, what's that?
I hope so.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really does.
A couple of hours sleep last night doesn't make me feel that young this morning. But
You can sleep.
look,
sleep later on in your life.
Look, we're just we're still riding that wave. It was only 2.5 weeks ago, but it's the nappy changing, the bottles, or you name it. We're right in the trenches at the moment. Jess's mum's given us a hand. She's been fantastic. So literally, when they say that saying that it takes a whole village we're taking all that on as much as help
to bring over the village. But like we said, nobody knows what they're doing when they have a child. Nobody. I don't care who they are or how many kids they've had, because every child's different as well. You just go with the flow, and So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you so much.
And your perspective changes in life and business, doesn't it? Your priorities about where you want to be and what you want to do and what the legacy and different things, doesn't it?
And you have a new understanding and appreciation of what every mum goes through when you're in that room at the hospital. I mean, it just blows you away as a bloke. You feel pretty useless sitting in the corner there. You just for what every mum goes through. I just unbelievable. And then to go back and do it again and again. I've got staff in my office got 4 kids. I'm like, wow.
I know.
We got one property manager with triplets. She had triplets. I'm like, how can you physically do that?
And watch them as Billy gets older, and you think, how did they do 3 of this? In this way, and then 3 teenagers, and
blows my mind.
I know I've only had 1 child, and I admire people that had him, or that went back again. Got to admire.
I'm not sure about that. We're yet to have that conversation.
Just get through this one.
Yeah.
All right. So congratulations to both you and Jess. It's very exciting, and I can't wait to have a hug. So next time you come down, you gotta
definitely
call in or something, and someone a hug. All right. Definitely. So what's one thing that people might be surprised to learn about you?
I think. I think. Well, I think I'm a lot more giving than what people think. I think people can get that, I suppose, unrealistic expectation. They might see some shiny things and some success and think that you're an arrogant or full of yourself type of person. I think, well, I'm banned from donating money now from the business. My own accounts department's banned me because I give away so much money. I can't say no to people that I think that they deserve to have some assistance there financially, or whether it's we can do something for them, for the family, or whether it's food hampers or anything like that. Even buying coffees at the drive-through, like always paying back for somebody. But my accounts department definitely banned me many years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, because we were donating $10,000-12,000 a month as an office. I've probably donated $100,000, or over 100 grand now to charity that I'm very close to, a drug arm, which is an ongoing relationship I have with them. But just families have reached out if they've hit hard times, or had an accident, or houses are burnt down, or something like that. Even taking kids out for drives in a sports car on a weekend, or formals, or for no reason at all, just to put a smile on. I think people don't see that part, and they find it hard to correlate the business, successful business person to somebody that's just a normal person on the street.
Okay, you know what, Ryan? There's people that do charity for attention, and they'll put all of it on social media, every single thing, and that just goes to show who you are. You're not doing it for attention, you're doing it for genuine reasons, and that is so much different to if every time you did it you had a camera on you. It's kind of a little bit different, isn't it? So
it's more advertising. I think it's going under the radar. I think like I said, I mean, I 8 years old, I had a boyhood dream was to own some of those sports cars and things like that. It was on my bedroom walls as 8 years old. But we were a single mum, 2 boys, bunk beds, and the poster on my wall was a Lamborghini. And I always used to say to my brother, one day I'll buy one. One day I'll buy one of those. And Luke's the academic in the family, my brother, and a very smart big banker in Sydney. And he always said to me, I'd never thought it really happened because you were never smart enough to get a job where you'd be able to buy one of those. But to be able to have those now and have those toys and take kids for a drive in it and just see their eyes light up, I think that's pretty cool. I
remember the day you got it, and you said that it was amazing. But you know what? I think I said this to you in our last interview as well. Like, people say, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to look like a jerk or whatever. And I always refer them to you, not because you're a jerk, the opposite. To just say, like, you can be successful and not be a jerk. There's the ones like you still post your car, you still do all those things and whatever, but it doesn't come across as look at me, I'm so much better than you, or I've got money, or I've got these things. It comes across as look at what I get to do and what I've worked hard to do, and and it's a different feeling. You don't look like a wanker.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. And I know I had a post the other week where I sold. It was actually my first house that I actually bought as a 19-year-old kid, and life was a lot different then. I was living off frozen meat pies. 2 rooms were rented out for $50 a week to 2 mates so I could help pay the mortgage. My mum had gone guarantor for me to buy that house for $100,000 back in 1997, I think it was, 98. My car was a lemon yellow Commodore with no air conditioning. I was working at Ray White at Capalaba.
Roll down
windows. Kenwood tape deck that I saved up for. No aircon in the car at all. I don't think it had power steering. But life was a lot different. Hand-me-down tires from my dad, so I could look the part. My mobile phone was probably about that big, looked like a brick. And when I sold the house, I got the opportunity to sell it to the person I actually sold it to, and I just wanted to have the opportunity to drive into my house with a Lamborghini to my first house I ever bought and just have that clash of worlds. 27 years later, and some people took it as congratulations, that's awesome. It's been a long 27 years, and don't get me wrong, as you well know, I've had failings in my life as well. 12, 10, 11 years ago, and you have to come back from from adversities as well. So for me, it was like my two worlds colliding.
Wow.
Of what I dreamed of, and that Lamborghini poster I had as a 8-year-old kid. When I bought that house, I actually had it in my rumpus room, and it was up again above the fridge and the pool table. And I always obviously wanted, and so to drive into your house that you used to own all those years later was quite cool. But in saying that, you're always going to tick people off, and there was a lot of negative comments there too. So
What did they get? What was negative? What did they say?
real estate agents shouldn't make that much money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was some harsh comments there. But I think that's also part of the culture to Australia is tall poppy syndrome, and you're always going to get, doesn't matter what business you're in, you're always going to get that. But in our business especially, you do have to have thick skin, and that's something real estate has taught me a lot, a lot over the years. But if you live your life on out in the public, and you're out there to be credited, you've got to also be open to comments which are going to be negative, and it's just how you wade through those things.
But I always go, like, if I wouldn't go to that person for advice, why should I take negative criticism from them? People are saying that.
Absolutely.
What do they know about anything? Like, seriously.
Yeah, look, and I said, I saw the, was it Libby Trickett, the swimmer? She was on the news the other day. Her and her husband, who's a wealthy investor, and she's obviously one of the best Olympians that Australia's ever had, bought a $20 million house in Hawthorne on the river, and social media took off on how disgusting that is that she bought a $20 million house. I mean, who are you to criticise somebody? I mean, they bought the property. I assume they've got a mortgage on there. They're paying the house off. It's their money. Like, I think people can get a little bit too involved in other people's lives, but it is what it is.
That's social media now, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
All right. So if you weren't in real estate, what would you be doing?
I'd love to say, Lisa, that I would be a fantastic sporting star, because that's what I always wanted to be. But I'm 47. Rugby, rugby league, rugby. I played overseas in Ireland, but I'd love to. But at 47, that window would certainly close. I had the opportunity via First National to do a real estate segment every Saturday in Brisbane for about 12 months. With 4BC, and we did a real estate wrap-up of the Brisbane real estate market with Olympia for 4BC, and I really enjoyed it. She invited me into the studio they've got there at Cannon Hill, and I went in there a couple of times, and she was fantastic. And just to see how professional it was and how cool the studio was, I really enjoyed that. So maybe a shock jock.
A radio host. Yeah, wow. A shock jock would be amazing.
Maybe.
Imagine exposing everything that we talk about. I feel like I've got some more content for you.
Yeah, she was really good. She was very professional, but really, really cool lady. And I really thoroughly enjoyed every week. It was early in the morning, about 7 o'clock on a Saturday, just before we get to open homes. But I really enjoyed it, actually. So in the back of my mind, I've always thought, radio would be a good gig. I've got a face for it.
Yeah, no, you'd be right on TV as well. I think it'd be funny. Remember that? What was it? It was on the back of the newspaper. It used to be Guess Who Don't Sue.
No.
It was on the back of a newspaper. I can't remember which one it was. So like Sydney Morning Herald or something like that. And they'd have like little rumors about someone. It wouldn't say who they were or anything. It'd be fun to do like a radio segment where you go, guess who don't sue. Guess which real estate agent did this. Guess which real estate agent did that.
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
It would be, but you'd get people listening going, what about me?
yeah, definitely.
So funny. Okay. So you operate in one of Australia's most competitive markets in the Redland Bay area. What separates great agents from not so great ones in your area?
Well, I mean, you've been to our boardroom before, and you've seen the slogans and mottos and whatnot we have in there. And there's one in there that we've had from day one, which is passion changes everything. And I really stand by that. If you're passionate, and not just real estate, if you're passionate about anything you do, whether it's radio, real estate, concrete, it doesn't matter what it is, you can really tell. And I can see that in being the employer. Yeah. And the agents that are extremely successful, they're totally involved in their clients' outcomes. Putting somebody ahead of what your own gain is. I probably taught myself out of more sales than other agents have made in a 12-month period. And the reason for that, people go, why would you do that? You work on commission only. Well, if it's not the best advice for the client, I still believe that they should know about it, and it's not lining my pockets. I believe that business will come back to me when it's the right time for that person to sell. So where some people just say, yeah, let's get on the market right now, do this, get it. If the market's not open to that property, whether it's price points, the tenant being in the property, the way it's displayed, the way it's presented, then I'll tell them that. And that's to get the seller the best outcome possible. That will go threefold for business down the track, whether that's referring me business or that sale will come on the market and be a lot easier to sell and better for the client money-wise. Everybody profits from that. And then I think consistency. Yeah. So from an individual point of view, the agents that are consistent will always do well. The guys that enter the market with a big bang and then take 6 months off and enjoy it and have a great life. But the guys that are consistently there follow the processes. They've got their process that they follow. They don't deviate from that process. Now, whether you're an auction agent or a private treaty agent, whatever it might be, if you follow the process that you believe in, and that has results for your client, you secondary, clients first, you're the secondary person from that. If you follow those processes, they're the agents that, in my opinion, do better in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. The discipline for the momentum. And that's quite easy to achieve in real estate, isn't it? Like the momentum. Like if you're putting out all of the things that you should be doing, then you should be getting calls, you should be getting appraisals, you should be getting this, you should be getting inspections, and it should just all flow on. Once you've started, like you said, if you're gonna go on holidays, that momentum stops.
Yeah, and I think agents they believe their own press at times, and they get a couple of big sales, and things change, and they put down the tools that they actually got to those sales figures with. So when you might write $5, $10, $20 million in a quarter, and all of a sudden they don't put those pipelines in place, they don't do those, the one percenters, the things that we don't want to do that aren't glamorous, making those feedback calls, seeing if you can get appraisals from feedback calls when people have gone through your open homes, getting your media stuff out, not doing those, and then they turn around and the next quarter, all of a sudden they've got nothing on the board, and that $10 million quarter is now a $5 million quarter because you've got zero the following quarter. And the guys that just follow that and don't live off what they've just made, and just keep banking that and obviously move forward and keep rolling it around and around and around. They're the guys that will do well at the end of the 12 months. But you know what? At the end of that 12 months, it all starts again.
Exactly.
It all starts again.
And
that's the tiring part.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yes, right. Okay, so what are your top tips for preparing for the new year? Because it's not that long away. It's going to be Billy's first Christmas.
It is, yeah, super excited, and we'll be down there at Tugun for sure. And that's probably the first tip, is to ensure that you have some time out, because the year starts, as you said. My market really starts around about that second week of January, and you've got to be ready to hit the ground running. So I try to have a break from that mid-December range I get Christmas. My birthday's the 4th of January, New Year's, all that stuff out of the way, and you just got the blinkers on, and you're in the trenches, and there's no time off. I think there's a little bit of a lull around Australia Day weekend, and then after that, there's no time off until mid-year. You're really in the trenches, and you should be executing everything right. But these days, obviously, with the new legislations, making sure that your clients are in your pipeline have got those sellers' disclosures all ready to go. The photos are booked in, the weather patterns are checked. You know what the high tides are going to be, and all those type of things that people don't take into consideration. The Christmas trees are down, the sparkles are all off. They're ready to be photographed. Having everything ready so you are hitting the ground running is really important, because obviously your market starts on that second week. For us, it starts on that second week of January, and there's no time off until closer to that mid part of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, best advice for new real estate agents and new people coming into real estate.
Best advice for new real estate agents, probably have a look around to the agents that are doing really well in your area, whether they're in your office. I mean, I've always been really strong on making sure you've got great rapport with agents outside your office as well. There's no reason why you can't be friendly just because you've got different colour signs. Seeing what those agents do well, I get heaps of agents, younger agents, that text me at all hours of the night, weekends, days, whatever it might be, and giving information that I was given as a young agent. I think it's just part and parcel of passing that baton on. They're asking for the right reasons. They're respectful. They're not trying to chase your business. They're really important things, I think, and something I respect in agents locally. So if they've got that type of mentality, then I'm always happy to help them. So asking agents what they do, how they go about their daily processes. Ensuring that you have a core area that you look after. Some people will call it farm area or core area, whatever you prefer. Not making that too big. Making that too big as a new agent can be daunting, and just you feel like you're getting nowhere. Be the agent of choice for one estate or two estates. So if you've got a core area of 150 to 200 homes, get known as the agent that looks after that. Once you've won that estate and you move on to the next estate and you keep the balance on that estate, all of a sudden you're now the agent of choice for two estates. From two estates, it's easy to become the agent of choice for that suburb. And once you're the agent of that suburb, then you can look at maybe higher price suburbs or neighbouring suburbs as well. People will chase agents who've got a great name and a great reputation with results in the business, and that's how it starts. And if you look at any of the really good agents out there, not just my area in the Redland City, but anywhere across Brisbane or anywhere else, I think that's what they do. Chris Gilmore's a great example. The Druvale, I think it is. I've never been there myself, but I know that's he had 80% of the market share in a suburb, and he's osmosis to other areas, and now he owns virtually all of Logan. That's a really, really good idea to start off with one area, start off with an estate, get to another estate, own the suburb, and then branch out.
Yeah. And I think too, I always tell people to go to open houses and watch what agents do great, but also what they don't do great. So it's a real confidence booster too when you go to an area where the agent is maybe not so good. And then the confidence to go, okay, if they're making it, they've made so many sales, they didn't follow me up, they didn't get my name, they were rude to me in the house, they were late, all of those things. I always think that's a real confidence booster for agents as well. And you're
absolutely.
Yeah, you're in a very, very competitive area too, aren't you?
Yeah, Cleveland's extremely competitive. I think we've got the number one LJ Hooker in Australia, the number one Remax in Australia, number one First National in Australia. We had the number one Century 21 in Australia, but they went to a private brand, changed over to a private brand called Freedom. I think we've got the number one Rain and Horn in Queensland, the number one Professionals at Queensland at some point in time over the recent years. They've now changed over brands as well. But it's a very, very, very competitive area.
How has it all happened there?
I think we have a really diverse part of real estate. So you can go from, obviously everything's changed over the last couple of years price-wise, but we have townhouses, we have apartments, we've got high-rises, we've got waterfront real estate, which obviously brings a lot of people in. We've got prestige real estate, and we've got beachfront real estate. So beachfront real estate can go up to $10 million or over $10 million now. We just sold last week the highest sale on a canal for 5.5, just shy of 5.5 million. Sold a unit here, which was the highest price unit in Cleveland for $3 million. We've got acreage properties that sell for over $4 million. So you've got a lot of the entry level is probably somewhere around that $850 for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. So there's a diverse part of real estate. So I think you get a huge audience, and we've got 160,000 people that are in the Redland City.
Yeah, and people can move locally, can't they? If they're upsizing, downsizing, it's price-wise. You've got the entry point, and then they can go up.
And I think a lot of it, the Redland City, really it's called the Redland City. It's renowned for its red dirt. We were a farming area originally, so we're on the coastline. So we're 60-minute drive from the Gold Coast. We're 35-minute drive tops to the Brisbane City CBD. So we're on the train line, we're on the bay line. But it was a farming area, so a lot of those farms got bought out, and obviously brand new estates. So really family orientated, and it just seems to attract a lot of real estate agents and a lot of big companies.
So it's red dirt, is it?
Yeah, it's very fertile.
Doesn't it? Isn't that potatoes?
Mate, tomato, you name it, potatoes, tomatoes, you know, strawberries. We're famous for strawberries. A lot of farming communities. They're slowly going, obviously, now because they're worth $20-30 million a hectare, a farm, and they're made into subdivision estates of 400 or 500 square meters these days. But that's what its history is.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's one thing you wish every real estate agent would stop doing immediately?
Stop bagging people out. Stop trying to obtain business by bagging your fellow peers out, because if that's the way you get business, real estate's really not for you. Because one, you might think you're giving yourself the upper hand, but clients hate it. Clients really disrespect somebody that bags another agent out. And look, with my personal failings, over a decade ago, I gave everybody ammunition to use that. Some did, some didn't. The ones that did certainly didn't work for them. But you don't need to bag somebody out, whether it's their performance or I suppose their business, the way that they prefer to market real estate. There's enough business out there. I mean, weekend just gone on Saturday, we did. I think we had 9 open homes. I think there's about $18 million worth of real estate collectively, just for myself and Harrison. There's enough business out there for everybody to survive, even in a competitive environment like this. You don't need to, and if that's the way you are going to go about your business, real estate's probably not the right position for you.
Yeah. There was one down in Sydney, Steve Brody, and one of his competitors told a vendor that he was dead. They said, "Oh, I heard he died." And then the person rang Steve just to see.
Alive.
Oh, no, I think he saw him at an open house or something. And the guy went,
He recovered well.
Yeah. Prison from the dead. And then, then
I hope he got it. I hope he got the listing. the guy that was dead.
Told him who it was. But what about the other thing about sign jumping? I know you don't particularly like that. And I know if you look after your vendors and all that sort of thing, but I think that's such a dog act as well.
I think it's old school real estate. Like I said, 97% of my business is repeat business. The sellers are telling me who you are. They're telling me that it's Joe Blow from Joe Blow Real Estate. So I know you're doing it. And if you're fine with me knowing, that's probably shows more about you than me. But the reason why they're going with me is because I've got 4 or 5 sales on the board with their family over a long period of time. So by you ringing up saying, "Oh, I've got a buyer for you," it's really not. It doesn't work. Yes, I know there's going to be lazy agents out there, and the easiest way to find a listing is to find something on realestate.com or to door knock them or the letterbox drop them. There's always going to be agents that do it. I just choose not to do it. I don't feel the need to do it. Listing wise, I don't need it. Per position, I prefer the business to come to me a different way. But look, there's always going to be agents that do it. I just prefer not to, and I certainly don't encourage my guys to go out there and do it. But I understand that there are certain agents that they follow that methodology of going out there and doing it. It's on each individual. But if you do it, please expect it back.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. To me, it's stealing. And, I had agents that used to do that to me all the time. And I'd ring them and say, "Okay, we can do this the nice way or the not so nice way. You stop knocking on the doors. Otherwise, I dedicate, everyone in the office to attacking every single one of your listings. We can do that."
Oh, Lisa, I've gone worse than that. I've actually just let them know that we're taping the conversation, obviously, because you've got a buyer that you've cashed out ready to take to 1 Smith Street at Cleveland, and you've contacted my seller, and my seller's after if it's legit or not. So we're just recording the conversation just to let you know. But that buyer that you've got, what was the buyer's name? We'll organise a conjunction, and we'll take that buyer through and make sure you get paid for it. And then you hear crickets. And then, no, they bought, mate. Oh, so you don't have that buyer anymore. So that was only yesterday you made the call. And I'll play that back to the seller so they can hear it.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't mind taking the piss out of them.
Stealing and lying. Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's old school grubby real estate. And I just think, we can be better than that. Be more professional. Get business from people that want you, not that you're bagging another peer out to get business.
No, I love it. Okay, best advice for existing real estate agents?
Probably don't try grow so big so quick. There's nothing wrong with having a team of 4 or 5 agents that work underneath you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just think some agents do it for the wrong reasons. I work more on profitability rather than volume. I'd rather be able to retire sooner than have to work for another 20 years because I have so many outgoings. I think some agents want to look like within a brand, they're a brand. Let the brand work for you and do what you're good at. Go out there and list and sell real estate. You don't need to have an army that works for you. Most of the principals are paying for an army to work for you. You don't need to have 4 or 5 guys working underneath you to look like you've got a whole army, chanting your name and putting up your flags on the weekend. I think that, I suppose, I wrote 3.6 million in GCI 1 year, not that long ago, and I have one PA. One PA, that's it.
Yeah.
That's 95 houses sold in 52 weeks. I can't understand these agents that write 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 million in GCI, and I've got 5 guys working for once you sit there at the end of the financial year and you realise that you've just outlaid $500,000 to feed everybody, you could have probably invested that in a better part of your business without having to feed other people that aren't really that active. So don't grow so big. If you get to that point and you're writing $3, $4, $5 million GCI, that's awesome. But I don't think you need to have 3 or 4 people working for you when you've got an office that obviously helps you out, and you've got less than a couple $1 million in GCI.
But it's the ego, isn't it? They want to look good, and
they want to look the part.
And
I got 4 buyer runners, and my own admin clerk, and this guy that looks up. Our office does a really good job for our agents. We've got an inbuilt media team. We've got the front office that does everything. Obviously, the account departments. You don't need to have 5 people that work for you, unless you're working big numbers.
I actually posted that on Instagram today. Don't go trying to look rich, act your wage, or act where you're up to in your career. There's brand new people that start in real estate, brand new.
I want a PA.
That are they've got a PA, or that employ social media company and they spend, $2,000 on getting leads. And I go, why are you doing that? You're probably not going to get, they would probably give you a red hot lead and you're going to blow it. I would rather see you go door knock and practice doing market appraisals.
And this is the thing, especially when you're starting out, if you're getting leads or you're outsourcing your leads, that person making the decision, the guy signing the Form 6, wants to know about you and wants to know if they can work with you over that 90-day contract that you have with them. I don't want to hear about your digital guy or your assistant or your PA. I want to know what can you do for me, Lisa? What can you bring to the table compared to the LJ Hooker guy or the Ray White guy? What can you actually bring? Why should I list my house with you? I'm not listing it with your team. I'm listing it with the person that's got the name on the signboard and the name on the REA ad. So for me, it's just, you don't need to have an army behind you to work as a real estate agent. Like I said, I'll challenge anyone. At 3.6 million GCI, I had one assistant, and we worked good long hours, but we made some really great sales and obviously profited from it. But be more concentrated on what your profitability is, not just what your outlays are going to be.
Yeah, profitability, not how big you look and how good
you look.
Yeah. All right. So what daily habits or rituals have you had that's been the biggest game changers for you, productivity and mindset?
I think I am still very old school. I have a paperback diary, embarrassingly enough, but I'm very list orientated. So I work well with lists. I need to tick boxes. So I know what my day's like. There's certain things I've got to tick off as I go through my day. And when I get home in the afternoon and put your feet up and having a grey goose, I know I've done everything that I had to achieve. And obviously, as real estate agent's day pans out, you never know exactly what's around the corner. There's always going to be things that you didn't encounter for, but at least everything that was the money-making object, certain phone calls with certain people, touching base with somebody, a follow-up call. I said, I'll ring you in 2 weeks. I'm ringing you on that 2 weeks. I'm not ringing you in 16, 18, 19 days. Chasing up, how's the finance going? I know you've got 48 hours to go. Just touching base with you. Is everything in the line? Have you got the building report back? So checking off those little things, because if you don't check off the little things, they become big problems at the end of the day when you get to that 14th day and I haven't got the finance. Why hasn't the bank rang me for the bank valuation? Oh, I haven't submitted my application form yet.
Yes.
Finding out all that information so it doesn't become a big job at the end of the day. You're not dropping the ball for the seller, who's the paying client. For me, it's definitely a list. I'll go further than that. My diary is actually color coded, Lisa. Every color means something different. If it's in yellow,
pink, buyer green.
but green is a listing opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Orange is sold. Pink and blue is buyer maintenance.
Yeah.
And yellow is do not miss it. I don't care what happens. If the car runs out of petrol, you'll get out and you'll run to the airport. Do not miss that appointment.
Yeah,
that could be a building test or a bank valuation, anything like that. An advertising meeting, anything like that. So every colour is different. So I can flick through that diary and just without even reading the text, I know what my day looks like.
Yeah. See, I have to run a paper diary. I have the color coding and all that sort of thing as well. And I have to do a to-do list. Like I've got my appointments and then the right hand side is my to-do list, and I have to do the same thing. You miss that on a computer, don't you? Like I can't get that same feeling, that same effect.
I'm sure there's some software out there, Lisa, that will probably object to what we're saying, but it just makes sense to me. I like to touch and feel it. And you know what else? Another thing that I love putting in place, and I've done this my entire career, and the agents in my office all have a laugh about it, but now I see that there's a few of them there that actually have adopted the same system. So especially when you work in an office environment, and you're not just in a boutique office by yourself, it's not me versus you. In my career, I've worked at LJ Hookers. I worked at my dad's office at Cleveland Real Estate, Ray White, and obviously First National. At LJ Hookers, there's 27 agents in the office, a massive office. I never ever thought it was me versus you, or me versus Bob, or me versus Ian. It was just me versus me. I don't play golf, but people that play golf tell me they work on their own game to see how many holes, obviously, they could get by to get their handicap down.
Whatever. Yeah.
So, for me, my diary, at the back of every diary, and I collect every single diary since 1998, you can go to the back of my diary, and for every single month, I have my sales figures. January, February, March. So then I'll know what my quarter numbers were. And obviously, April, May, June, there's my second quarter. So I can add them up at a drop of a hat, and I can compare it. Now, for me to get better, I've got to beat Ryan McCann.
Yeah.
I don't have to beat Lisa. I don't have to beat Bob. I'm just going to beat Ryan McCann. And if I can do that from 1998 to 99, that's great. I'll do that from 2021 to 2022, that's great. But if I beat Ryan McCann in every January and every February, and he beats me in March, but I beat him in April and May, all of a sudden, by the end of that 12 months, when I get to December, I've beaten my own figures. Yeah. And that's how I always improved. So I'd look at my figures from last year and go, oh, geez, January I did 6 million, February I did 2 million, and March, geez, what happened in March? I did 1 million. That was terrible. So when I get to the next year, I've got to be, and I know where I'm at. So by the time every single month goes through, I know where I'm at in my career. And so it's no fluke to me that every single year I improved in my real estate career, because I was so focused on beating my old self every single year, every single month.
And so do you still have a card system?
What, sorry?
Do you have a card system? Like, how do you keep your vendors and your buyers, like your hot buyers and hot sellers? Oh, in your phone. Okay.
The database, every address, every seller, the latest sale that I've had with them, they're all in there. And it works for me as a great listing tool as well. So obviously the estate that I sell in, it's a waterfront estate, which is where I live myself. I sell there, so I get to know everybody on a personal basis. Every open home, I get to meet, virtually the same people week in, week out. But when I go to somebody's house and they say, have you any buyers for my house? I can just pick it up, buyers at Raby Bay, flick through, and there's 28 numbers and names and their budgets next to them of what they're looking at buying. And I want to have a 2-story home and I've got $3 million to spend. Bang, and I can pull that up and show the sellers. That's where we're at. Yeah, I've got 6 buyers for it.
I wondered, because you had a paper diary, I wondered if you kept anything else in paper that you had that had there that was in front of you, or a whiteboard, names on a whiteboard. I
don't have a teledex. I used to have a teledex back in the 90s.
Yeah. I still have to keep things in writing sometimes. I still have to see.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
I think after 27 years, I think the paper would be.
Yeah, I know.
It looked like 2 yellow pages, so it's a lot easier to keep it in this.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, how do you balance ambition without burnout?
I think, well, obviously, clearly I failed. I got two real estate careers. I've got the pre-First National and the post-First National is how I like to look at it. My pre-First National, obviously, I failed, and that's one of the reasons why I ended up in rehab centres and addiction and things like that. So I did fail, and I learned so much from that. I didn't take care of myself. I partied too much. I exploded or imploded, I should say. I burnt the wick at both ends. Today, I'm very, very mindful. Sundays are my time at home. I'm really mindful. I have to be absolutely guaranteed that this house is going to sell for me to be working on a Sunday. I don't like Harrison working on a Sunday. You can take phone calls or things like that, or communicate with buyers or sellers, but I'm not making appointments. I do need that time out. 6 days a week is enough. Where I was working 6-7 weeks without a break, and it's just too much. We're constantly in contact. When I was at LJ Hockers, I think I had 42 vendors I had to look after at that point in time. Was at the highest we got to was 42 vendors. Jess was my PA, and managing that many buyers and sellers, it was just too much. And you just got burnt out. These days, probably 15 is the most I take on, and obviously from there, it's just making sure that you're recharged. So I love Tugun. I love getting down the southern end of the Gold Coast. That's my zen. When I feel like I've been burnt out, I can suppose look at my diary and just, even if we go down on a Wednesday night and I've got nothing on a Thursday, I can push things back to Friday, make it all in one day and compress it. I'll do that.
Yeah,
you do. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody. So I'm very, very mindful of that, and just making sure that you're not burning out at the end of the day, because I'm good. I'm no good for myself. I'm no good for my clients, and I've also got 28 staff that I've got to be responsible for as well. So I'm no good to them if I'm just hung out to dry and stressed out. So very, very mindful of that.
Okay, so just something, just leading on from that topic, I find now, it wasn't a thing a long time ago, but I'm finding cocaine is a big thing in real estate now. What advice would you give those people that are taking cocaine and all that sort of stuff?
Well, you got to remember when I had my issues with drugs in 2014. It was front page of the Courier Mail. It was front page of Channel 9, Channel 10, Channel 7. It was the centre spread of the Courier Mail. I pled guilty to supply. Now, supply, to me, I didn't know what that meant. I thought that meant dealing and trafficking and selling. It doesn't. So supply in Queensland, and this is really, really important for young agents, whether it's cocaine or anything else, supply means sharing. There was no monies involved. There was no funds. There was no currency at all involved in my case. It was me sharing it with mates, and me sharing it and smoking it in a pipe or snorting it. Me putting that on the table with somebody else, that's one supply charge. Me giving it to another friend on the same night, that's 2 supply charges.
Yes.
Me smoking a joint at a bonfire and passing that joint to somebody at a party, that's supply of marijuana. Doing a lineup with somebody and giving them that's supply of cocaine. There's no currency involved. There's no money involved. So I had to plead guilty to 17 of those over a 2-year period, and there was $50 involved every single time. Just no money. Just that was the volume of it. So that, and this, how I say this nicely, doing that type of activities is always more enjoyable when you're doing it with other people, not just by yourself. So it's easy to get done for supply. So unless you've got a big, long career, and I had 15 years of doing a really good job within the real estate industry, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have come back the way it had. So if I only had 2 or 3 years on the board, I would have been rubbed out of real estate really, really quickly. So if you are, a young hotshot and you're out there partying and you're at the nightclubs or at parties and you're doing that and you're sharing it with someone with no money involved, that is supply. And if you get caught, and mine was off text messages, that's as easy as it was. If you get caught, and you see a lot of the NRL football players that got done recently with the phone charges that they caught someone and then from that phone they got somebody else, and somebody goes like a spider web. Your career could be easily rubbed out. So that 250 grand you're making, 400 grand you're making, $1 million you're making is done. And the only thing that I suppose my license did not get suspended or revoked was that there was no currency involved. There was no monetary money included in it. And I had obviously some runs on the board for 15 years that supported well for my character after that that disappointment. But that's the biggest concern in real estate and professional sports and all that type of stuff, or anything high profile, is it's really easy to go down that path, but be prepared. There's massive consequences, and it's not you getting caught. It could be somebody else that you bought it from, or they go through somebody else's phone. It's easily tapped back to you, and that's what I went through. And Lisa, the upsetting part about that is 11 years on. Obviously, people that know me, and I've done many podcasts, and I said I'm affiliated with Drug Arm, the charity. But people that don't know me at all, would still regard me. Oh, he's a drug dealer and agent. Well,
drug dealer.
It wasn't at all. But that's how easy it is to get labelled that. And if you've only got a few years on the board and not a lot of experience in real estate, I can't see anybody putting their hand up, because no matter, despite me selling $1 million in GCI in 2010, I think it was, and the number one agent for LJ Hookers, I can absolutely tell you right now, when we came out of that bubble and the court case had finished, and we got proven right that all of those charges were dropped, and I only pleaded guilty to the ones that I just spoke about. Not one state manager or one CEO of another company other than First National stuck their hand up and said, yeah, we'll take him on. Every one of them turned their back and said, yeah, no, mate, you're no good. Now, every one of them's come back since to say, hey, would you like to change brands? But not one. I've probably got about 6 knockbacks. Knockback, and I was the number one agent for LJ Hookers, $1 million in 2010, 11, 12, what it was. And not one CEO or one state manager wanted me to be affiliated to their brand. So if you're 2 or 3 years on the board and you're writing a couple $100,000 in GCI, good luck getting a job.
To me, it's like risk and reward. If you're going to play silly games, you're probably going to get into trouble like that. But there's just so many of them now, and it is just such a huge risk. And with tall poppy syndrome, if you start going well, it's a way someone can bring you down like that, isn't it?
And I don't think it is real estate and sport, professional sports and banking and solicitors and all those kind of high profile positions. I think it's just part of society. There's I read some stats there that there's more people doing drugs than they are drinking in that new age group coming through. They prefer not to drink. They prefer to go and get loose on the weekends. So look, you are right. There's a big risk to reward. But like I said, you'll be easily rubbed out, in my opinion, because I know how hard I have to really pitch to the powers that be to get another job.
Like you said, destroyed in 5 minutes. You're on the page, everything else.
And the journalists don't care what the facts are. They're out there to sell papers.
They want a headline.
So, you got to remember, when I went through my process, it was the front page of the paper. Mate, there was things like, Mr. Big. There was like, you name it. It was, and then the Courier Mail had to write 2 apologies, and the apologies that they wrote were a classified ad. Remember the old school classified ads, like 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters in a black box. And yet they were the front page of the paper. Front headings.
So is Ryan.
It was so poor, the first one, my lawyers said, do it again. And they did it again.
Wow. Well, at least you got that. You should have got it and then blew it up and took a page in the Courier Mail.
and then paid the Courier Mail $20,000 for a page. I didn't have 20 grand at that point in time.
Do now, that'd be funny. Okay, so what leadership lessons have you learned through managing people?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously having a staff of 28 now, it's something that you really have to learn quick. I think just like sellers and buyers, one size doesn't fit all. What works for you, Lise, me working with you, what the dialogue that I use with you doesn't actually work for Alison or Sally. You've got to change and adapt to what the strengths of that individual are. And that's why it can be quite time consuming. That's why we pulled back last year when we knew the business was growing at the rate it was, for me to still to be on the floor and more handpick the sales I want to pick to make an income in sales, but not be across the floor as much, because there's so many personalities, and you've really got to juggle those personalities, and the strengths that each individual has might not marry up with the person in the office next door. Yeah. So by making sure that you're across that spectrum, I think that certainly helps. And then obviously you've got the same thing in the rental departments, and the front of house as well. They've all got different personalities, and you've got to, I suppose, just like a vendor, you don't have the same sales pitch every single time you walk into a cellar. Some of them need more high maintenance than others. Some need more contact than others. I've got some sellers that say, mate, a call a week's all I need from you, mate. I don't need to hear you 6-7 times a day. And then I've got people, if I don't ring them every day at 4 o'clock, they'll ring me and say, mate, why didn't you ring me? So you've got to find what that person's motivation is and how best to communicate with each other.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last question. So you've built a powerful brand and reputation. What advice would you give agents to do the same? And obviously we already spoke about don't look like a wanker and all that sort of thing. What advice on building a brand?
Take your time. Take your time. It's not going to happen overnight. There's a great saying that nothing worth having comes easy, and anything that comes easy is not worth having. It takes time. People see the shiny things, the things in the houses, the holiday homes. We bought our building. These are all boxes that I wanted to tick off in my career, which I didn't actually know if they were achievable or not. But it took 27 years, Lisa.
Yeah.
It took 27 years.
You're an overnight success in 27 years.
Yeah, it takes time. I had to sacrifice a lot to get there too. Like we spoke about at the start of this interview, it was, I'm a dad at 47 for the first time. So I value that more than I value the Lamborghinis or the beachfront holiday homes. That's my greatest achievement is what we just got 2.5 weeks ago. I understand a 25-year-old in real estate for the first time will value something in the garage or a waterfront home more than that. But we've all got different, I suppose, boxes that we want to tick off, but it doesn't come overnight. And if you think it's just going to race through 5 years and do it, good luck to you. But I'm pretty good at what I do. And I've had a really successful list of clients that have stayed with me over a long period of time. And it still took me 27 years to get there. Yeah. So if you think you're going to smash it all out in 5 years and driving your dream car and living in the penthouse apartment that you've wanted and got the beachfront holiday home and the 2.2 kids and whatever it might, good luck to you. And we all need to have dreams and aspirations, but it takes a long time to master your craft and get to where you want. You're going to have some struggles along the way. There'll be up and down markets. Obviously, our industry floats with a great market, but better agents make better money in a tough market too. So you just take your time. It's not a sprint. And I think if real estate agents start off very young these days, I mean, I was 20 when I started. I said I'm 47 now. I have absolutely no regrets. Even when I fell on my sword 11 years ago, that made me a better person and a better agent today. I have no regrets at all. I'm not embarrassed about what failings I've had. I've learned from them. I think the only thing is you'd be embarrassed if you haven't learned from mistakes you've made. But yeah, it takes time. And 27 years is certainly not a sprint, but what a fantastic industry to be in. You've got to have thick skin and you've got to be resilient. But if you treat clients right, you're not an asshole, that you're actually fair, good things will come.
Yeah, definitely. Is Billy awake?
She's not. She's asleep. Can't you hear? There's no screaming.
I was going to say bring her on the camera. That's okay. You'll have to send me a photo of her and I'll put her on the video as well. I want her to be on the video too.
I'll send you a pic.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. That was amazing. Thank you so much for your wonderful advice. Then we'll catch up again maybe in 12 months or something when Billy's a bit older.
Yeah, I'll go down the coast next. Christmas time, I've got some time off down there.
Yeah, definitely. Go to Siblings or that other one. All right, cool.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in EXP,
please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for EXP Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.